Ms. Norton from Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter from 60 groups led by DC Vote, a letter from 150 groups led by the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, and a letter from the National Urban League and the Greater Washington Urban League.
Without objection, so ordered.
District of Columbia residents have all the obligations of American citizenship, including paying federal taxes, serving on juries, and registering with Selective Service. Yet Congress denies them full self-government and voting representation in Congress. The only solution to this undemocratic treatment is to grant DC statehood. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter from leading constitutional scholars explaining why DC statehood bill H.R. 51 is constitutional.
Without objection, so ordered.
The admissions clause of the Constitution gives Congress authority to admit new states. All 37 new states were admitted by Congress. The district clause of the Constitution gives Congress authority to reduce the size of the federal district, which Congress did by 30% in 1846. H.R. 51 reduces the size of the federal district from 68 square miles to 2 square miles, consisting of the White House, the Capitol, the Supreme Court, and the National Mall, and remaining under the control of Congress, under control of Congress. The new state consists of residential and commercial areas of D.C. The admissions clause does not establish any prerequisites for the admission of new states, but Congress generally has considered 3 factors: support for statehood, commitment to democracy, and resources and population. 86% of D.C. residents voted for statehood in 2016. D.C. residents have demanded democratic rights for more than 220 years. D.C. has a larger gross domestic population than 16 states and a higher per capita gross domestic product than any state. D.C. has the higher per capita personal income than any state. D.C. has a larger population than 2 states. Republicans do not like that D.C. votes for Democrats, so they deny D.C. statehood. Mayor Bowser, Chairman Mendelson, and Attorney General Schwab, my question for you is, why should D.C. be a state?
Representative Norton, across the globe, Washington, D.C. symbolizes the power and the virtue of a representative democracy, a government that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. And yet, the 700,000 of us that live here in the District of Columbia are the only residents of the capital of a democratic country that do not have a voice in our national legislature. That's wrong. That's un-American. D.C. residents are Americans too. The lack of voting representation harms the District of Columbia. We, at this moment in our country, should be expanding democracy, not constraining it.
And Congresswoman, if I can add to Attorney General Schwab's remark, because frequently people focus on our lack of representation, and that is certainly an affront to us as tax-paying Americans. What gets less focus, but has come into focus over the last several weeks, is that we lack full autonomy. So for all intents and purposes, we function like a state. I function as our jurisdiction's governor and county executive and mayor. We perform the duties that all states are asked, and we don't do anything less. But We don't have control of our National Guard, and a peculiarity of our home rule charter, a president can declare an emergency in the district. So lack of full autonomy also prevents us from using the money that we raised in taxes, like happened this year. Taxes that we raised in the district cut from our approved budget, which forced us to cut services, including the pay raises that our police officers are due, being delayed until this October.
All right, gentlelady's time has expired.